What's up everybody, and thank you for joining me for another video. My name is Whack4863, but you can call me Whack. In today's video, we're going to do a deep dive into knocking things out in the Exiled Lands. Yes, we're going to look at all the different Truncheons and knockout tools across Conan Exiles, and I'm going to show you which ones are the best ones. Now, there are quite a few different options for Truncheons or tools that you can use to knock out. There's the standard Truncheon, and we're only going to deal with the top of the line stuff, the steel level or above. We won't look into the iron level or below in this video. We also have some one-offs. We have a legendary Truncheon, the Love Tap, and then we have the Predatory Blade. We are going to look at the blunted Javelin as well, and then additionally, we're going to look at the options for bows that are available for knockout with the blunted arrows. I'm also going to cover some of the numbers from the new thrall specifications for the Taskmasters. So the first thing that you want to do is in your attributes, you want to get to this first point in strength, because that is thuggery, and every blow or strike with a blunted weapon deals 100% more concussive damage. This is really going to double the amount of concussive damage you're doing. I'm also going to show you today how accuracy can actually affect the amount of concussive damage that you're doing, and I want to give a big shout out to Esta for bringing this to my attention. Esta is very involved in the Conan Exiles community across the forums, the wiki, and the Conan Exiles Discord. Now let's jump into some testing. For the record, I am spawning in the Blackhand Fighter 4 Sumerian, and you can see this is the Crusher. And what I'm going to do is show you how these numbers stack. I'm not going to get real in depth on the numbers and what they actually are. I'm just going to show you how this plays out in game. So currently my attributes are set to 0 in strength, and I'm under the 4th perk in accuracy. I am using the Truncheon that was crafted without any thrall help. And if I do a light attack, we get a 22 point damage to his concussion. If I do a heavy attack, we get a 25 point damage to his concussion. Now, let me go in and set my strength to 1. So now that my strength is at 1 perk, we're gonna hit him again, and we get 43 damage, and heavy attack at 49 damage. So you can see the increase on how much damage we're doing to concussion. If we go back in, I'm just going to put this helmet on, show you the attributes. We've gone up to 4 perks in accuracy, and I'm going to hit him again. With a light attack, goes up to 51, and with a heavy attack, goes up to 58. So now that we know what the best attribute setup is for the most concussion damage, I'm going to test all of the different weapons against these thralls and show you which is the best for knocking out thralls. Now, I will say that I don't think spending this many points in accuracy is really worth what you get in addition, because the number of strikes that it takes in order to knock out a thrall is going to be the same with these higher level Truncheons, even if you don't have 4 perks in accuracy, and I'll show you that a little bit later on in the video. Now, one thing that's extremely important across all of your knockout tools is that you use the blunted weapon fitting. So really, whatever level blunted weapon fitting you can craft, go ahead and craft that and put it on your equipment. However, we are using high level equipment, so we're going to use the advanced blunted weapon fitting across all these weapons. And yes, you can attach this to your bow, and if you're using that bow to knock thralls out, I highly recommend doing that. Now let's start out with the blunted Javelin. A lot of people like the blunted Javelin because it adds stagger. However, it does the lowest of all these weapons in concussive damage. So if I do a light attack, which is the only attack you can do without throwing it, it only gives you 32 points of damage. However, you can do quite a bit of stagger to that enemy as long as you're hitting your attacks. One of the things that a lot of people like to do is use the Predatory Blade. Now, the Predatory Blade does absolutely no damage on heavy attacks. It only does damage when you do a light attack. So you can see we did 89 damage with a light attack. When we do a heavy attack, it does 1 damage to his health bar and 91 damage to his concussion. So that's an option for you. It certainly isn't the highest number in concussive damage that you can get, but if you like this setup, you could definitely run with it. Personally, I do love the love tap. I like using it because it does a knockdown and it also does sunder. On heavy attacks, you will see it does 116 per hit. Now, the first hit is actually 2 hits. You can't stop that second animation from happening when you're doing the heavy attack. And if we look at the light attack, it does 65. So this is a great option if you like the mace, and if you like that animation, this is an awesome option for you. Now we're going to move into the reinforced steel truncheon. Now the reinforced steel truncheon is available from some of the chests in the Exiled Lands. However, you have to repair this item with a legendary repair kit. But as you can see, it does 152 with a heavy attack, and it does 101 with the light attack. If we switch over to Seth's Truncheon, which is really the truncheon that everybody goes after, and we do a light attack, you can see it's doing 109. And if we do a heavy attack, if I can actually hit him, it does 159. So based on the numbers alone, Seth's Truncheon is the best out of all of these weapons. So let's see how many strikes it takes to knock out a thrall with Seth's Truncheon. So what we're going to do is all heavy attacks against this target. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Now, I told you that I didn't think it was a good idea to use accuracy for that additional concussive damage. So what I've done is taken my helmet off. I am now under that 4th perk. And what I'm going to do is bring in another thrall to knock out, and we'll count the number of strikes. Again, all heavy attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So even though we're doing more concussive damage with the 4th perk in accuracy, it actually takes the same number of strikes to knock out this target. Now do remember that different targets have different amounts of armor, and that is going to come into play when you are hitting those thralls. So thralls with more armor or NPCs with more armor are going to take more strikes than this thrall in particular. Now we know that Seth's Truncheon does the most amount of concussive damage out of everything that we've tested so far. So what I have here is a steel truncheon that I crafted with a driver, and then a steel truncheon that I crafted with an overseer. Now the driver adds concussive damage to your truncheon, and the overseer adds durability to your truncheon. So if we look at this truncheon, you can see its weight, and I've used it so the durability. If we look at this one, you can see its weight and the durability. It doesn't show you the additional concussive damage. That's something that's hidden in all of the information for Conan Exiles. So the way that we're going to test this is the way that we've done it before. So let's remember what the numbers were for Seth's Truncheon. A light attack was 109 and a heavy attack was 159. If I switch over to the concussive damage thrall, we have 106, which is 3 points less than Seth's Truncheon. And we have 158, which is 1 point less than Seth's Truncheon. If we move over to the truncheon that I crafted with the Overseer, the durability thrall, with a light attack, we have 100. And with a heavy attack, we have 152. So there's a pretty big difference between the truncheon that we craft with the driver thrall and the truncheon that we craft with the overseer thrall. Now the real question is going to come in when we use the truncheon that we crafted with the driver thrall that adds concussive damage, is how many strikes does it take to knock out this target. So again, we're going to do all heavy attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that Truncheon is the exact number of hits that it took us to knock him out with Seth's Truncheon. Remember, Seth Truncheon is a legendary drop. This Truncheon is something that you can craft and maintain with just steel bars. Now you may be saying to yourself, yeah, but Whack, I've got to go and find this specific thrall and then craft it. It may just be easier to get Seth's Truncheon. Well, I'm going to show you a spot in the Exiled Lands a little bit later on in this video where this thrall in particular spawns 100% of the time. Now I want to show you the bows real quick, and what I have is a Bloodletter bow. It's just a standard, cheap, low version DLC bow. It does 7 health damage and 9% armor pen. Now you want the lowest health damage you can get and the highest armor pen. Armor pen actually helps with increased concussive damage because their armor stops some of that concussive damage. So the higher the armor pen and the lower the health damage means a more successful knockout. Now, if we do a heavy strike on this guy, you can see we're doing 190 concussive damage. If we do a light strike on this guy, you can see we're doing 141 concussive damage. The other bow that I want to show you is the Twice Upon an Arrow. Now this bow is currently only available on the Isle of Sipta, and you have to delve in order to get it. But it has 1 health damage, and with the Carpenter that adds armor penetration, it has a 10% in armor pen. And if we switch over to this one and we do a heavy strike, you can see we're doing 191. However, if we do a light, we actually get 141 times 2 because the light attack is shooting 2 arrows. For whatever reason, the heavy attack is only shooting 1. So while you'll go through resources faster or arrows faster with this particular bow, you will see that it knocks things out quite rapidly, which could be really good for a solo player on Sipta trying to do a surge. So let's do a count of how many arrows it takes to knock out Cruid the Crusher, and we're going to do all light attacks with the DLC bow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and I'm just going to show you it doesn't matter where you shoot them, 14 and 15. It's going to do the same concussive damage no matter where you hit them. Now let's do the exact same thing with the heavy attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So you will save some resources doing the heavy attacks. Just make sure that their consciousness bar is lowering faster than their health bar. One other thing that I want to cover is what you have available to use while you're riding a horse. You cannot use a Truncheon, and you cannot use the blunted Javelin. However, if you want to use the Predatory Blade, that is one of the items that you can use. You can also use the Love Tap, or you can simply use a bow. Now, I told you that I'd show you where you can find a Taskmaster that is a driver 100% of the time in the Exiled Lands. If we come up here to the Mounds of the Dead and we want to go into this hut right here that I'm standing in front of, that's going to be in C11, right next to the Ravaged Burrows, or part of the Ravaged Burrows. Now, you can drop in from the ceiling, you can run around the side and fight everything on the way, or you could jump into the middle. Now, everything in here is hostile, so you will need to fight your way through. However, this is the guy right here. He spawns 100% of the time, and all you need to do is knock him out. and you can see that his consciousness bar is going down, so he is an NPC that is thrallable. So I hope this video is giving you a in-depth look at how all the new systems work with the taskmasters, as well as all of the different truncheons and which truncheon is going to be best for you, or which knockout tool is going to be best for you while you're thrall hunting in the Exiled Lands. And that's all I have for this video, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. You can pick one of the other videos coming up on the screen to watch next. Hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed making it. I'll catch you next time. Peace. I'd like to give a big shout out to all my YouTube members. Y'all are absolute legends. If you'd like to become a legend, there's a button below that says join. That'll give you all the details. I'd like to thank all my subscribers for their continued support, likes, comments, and general awesomeness. If you're not subscribed, you can start your free trial today and cancel at any time. Clicking the bell is highly recommended so you get notified when I upload another video.